Hey guys, this is Mr. Oseguera over at the Bushido School of Karate. Today I want to talk to you guys about home training. We've been talking about that a whole lot lately. A lot of times home training is seen as maybe not quite as effective as coming to a class, but I tend to differ. All right, one of the biggest things that you can do, one of the most important things you can do when you're training at home is take your own training into your own hands. I don't know about you guys, but when I'm in my karate class or my jiu-jitsu class, let's say I'm working on a certain kata, I've got a certain technique out, or if I'm doing jiu-jitsu, I've got my partner in front of me, I'm working on a certain throw. I'm worried about the end result. I'm worried about, did I get there in the end? And a lot of times instructors will critique your transitions, or they'll critique the little details that you maybe missed while you were working on getting to the end of that technique. Now, when it comes to training at home, you don't have that. All right, so it's a really good opportunity, like I mentioned earlier, to take your own training into your own hands. And so today I want to talk to you about specifically stances, all right? Everybody here is familiar with a good strong fighting stance, with a horse stance, side view and cat stance, all that good stuff. What you may not know is that all of those measurements basically stem from one certain stance. All right, so if you can make a really good horse stance with your knees out over those feet, your stance wide enough, a lot of those other stances will be able to, will stem right off of that, and they're very consistent with the length and dimensions of this one, okay? So I hope you guys know, everybody should know that your horse stance is typically about a shin and 2 fists wide. All right, you may not have heard that, but you've definitely heard that your fighting stance is a shin and 2 fists long. You may also not know that your side viewing cat stance is a shin and 2 fists long as well. So if I look at my horse stance, if I'm right here, that's a pretty good horse stance. You might be getting into it traditionally. So I'm taking that left foot up, going up, boom, dropping into that stance. If I get in that stance, what I'm gonna do to measure this, because I've got no instructor at home to tell me whether I'm doing it right or not, I'm gonna take one knee, I'm gonna drive it all the way down to the ground. All right, now I want to make sure that it's straight and pointed towards my other foot. Then I take 2 loose fists. I want to put them up here. My stance was a little bit wide. I'm going to bring it in just a tiny bit. Boom. There's the width of my stance. Now, the cool thing about this is you can do this a bunch of times. Every now and then you want to go down and check your stance. What's really cool about this is if I just shift my body over, I've got the same length. Now it's from my toes to my heel. All right, there's my fighting stance. If I turn all the way this way, I turn my back toes out. I'm measuring from heel to heel. There's my side view and cat stance. So with that being said, if you're running a kata, or if you're going up and down the hallway working on a certain stance, it's really, really good to get down every now and then and check for that measurement. Instructors, other karate students are pretty good at looking on the outside. Yeah, that looks pretty correct. But when you don't have that, you kind of get to turn that in on yourself and see whether your stance is correct or not. So that's a really good resource, guys, and it'll really elevate your home training. Hope you guys get some value out of it.